In today's video, we go head to head with the AirPods Pro 2 versus the brand new Sony 1000 XM5s. Before I get into this video, let me clarify something from my previous first thoughts video with the XM5s. Now, the fit with my ear, with all of the tips, is it's shaky. So I did the ear tip test. With every single tip, it was a struggle to get a airtight seal. The tips that actually ended up working are the large tips. And that's ironic because I use the extra small tips on these. So nevertheless, what I do need from you guys are recommendations for third-party tips for these. So I can actually experience these with a nice, beautiful air seal 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for and the moment that matters most, and that is the sound test head to head. Let's go, let's get it. First thing I'm gonna check is active noise cancellation versus transparency in between the two. And then we're gonna get into just sound quality and audio performance. Let's go.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you.
Misunderstood.
Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes.
Misunderstood.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part.
Wake up and I do my part.
Just how I
My
should.
job, my bad.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you.
Misunderstood.
Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. That's understood.
Okay, so the active noise cancellation is kicking in, and we're gonna see if it's comparable to the AirPods Pro 2. Jump straight into these. I know they in ANC mode automatically without me having to do anything. Boom, they activate. So I can say that the AirPods Pro 2 is just slightly.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. That's understood. It was always me versus me.
Okay.
It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part.
Wake up and I do my job just as I should. Just how I should. All right, so the good part about this song, it goes into, especially right there when the hook ends, it goes into a nice sub line. But for active noise cancellation standpoint, I see where the AirPods Pro 2 is right now. Okay. Really good, actually. It's really, really good. Pull those out really quick. Let me put in the other ones. Man, I'm gonna tell you guys, this is really close when it comes to the noise cancellation. I don't know why, it just seemed like when I put the AirPods Pro 2, and this could be all due to the tip fit, like I just feel like my seal is just like a lot more locked in. Active noise cancellation, honestly, I just gotta give a tie between the two. I'm gonna jump into transparency mode because that's the next mode that if you wanna have your earbuds in, you don't wanna have to pull them out while you're working or doing whatever, you wanna be able to hear your surroundings. So in order to switch between those two modes, all I have to do is tap on the left button. Let me see, it didn't get my tap. Okay, there you go. I hear it, I can hear myself and so forth. It's not as natural sounding as I know the other ones to be, but we're gonna go from one to the other. You just long press right there, it just switches into transparency mode that is very, very natural feeling. If there's one thing that I can give the AirPods Pro 2 and just Apple credit for is their transparency mode. It is industry leading. It's phenomenal. It's actually to the point where you can just wear whatever noise cancellation system you have within the Apple ecosystem, switch it to transparency, and it's as if you're not wearing them. It's that good. So I gotta give the edge to the AirPods Pro 2 in the area of transparency. Now, active noise cancellation is literally like a tie, it's neck and neck. You can't go wrong with either or. But when it comes to transparency, if that's something you really, really rely on and you want it to feel natural and smooth, you're gonna go with the AirPods Pro 2. Let's jump straight into it. $249 versus $299.99. So these are the premium and what you're gonna spend in between the two. The next thing between these two is the processing chip. This has two, one individual chip for the active noise cancellation and one for the signal audio processing. This one has the Apple Silicon H2 chip, which basically has the combination of all of those things. And there's also the U1 chip inside of this MagSafe charging case. Yes, the case has a chip. More on the case later. Now, when it comes to the drivers on these two, you have a 8.4 millimeter Dynamic X driver on the Sonys versus the 11 millimeter high excursion Apple drivers inside of the AirPods Pro 2. So the AirPods Pro 2 is packing a larger driver in comparison. Now, when it comes to each bud, you have 5.3 grams versus 5.9 grams. While we're on the topic of weight, it's 39 grams for the charging case with the Sony versus the 50.8 grams with the AirPods Pro 2. You feel the heft with this charging case, but it also packs a little extra. We'll get more into that in a second. Now, feature set between these two, both have active noise cancellation, both have their own version of transparency mode, and they both have their version of some type of surround 360. So I don't know, when it comes to the whole 360 head tracking and that type of audio, I'm not sure which takes the cake in between the two. But if I jump back on the topic of noise cancellation between the two, you guys saw it in my head-to-head audio shootout. So let's talk battery life. Rated up to 8 hours with active noise cancellation, 12 hours without on the XM5s versus the 6 hours on the AirPods Pro 2 or 5.5 hours if you're using the spatial audio with head tracking. Now, when we get into continuous use, you got 6 hours of continuous use with active noise cancellation, and then that bumps up 1 hour to 7 hours of continuous use with active noise cancellation. And then for Apple, the only rating I saw was the 4.5 hours of continuous talk time. Now, all of those measurements were just the earbuds alone, but when we throw in the case and the ability to charge with them, that extends, with the Sony Buds extending from that 8 hours up to 24 hours. Now, on the AirPods Pro, we go from that 6 hours all the way up to 30 hours. Now, both of these do offer a form of quick charging. You got 3 minutes for 60 minutes on the Sony XM5s versus the 5 minutes for 60 minutes on the AirPods Pro 2. As far as connectivity between the two, it's exactly the same in the sense of Bluetooth 5.3. The AirPods have their proprietary connectivity within their own ecosystem, and the XM5s have a Sony headphone app which can be used on Android and iOS. When it comes to ear tips, they both offer the same amount of tips. Super small, small, medium, and large versus the extra small, small, medium, and large. And another key similarity between the two is the IPX4 sweat resistance, as well as they both offer Qi wireless charging. Now, there are a couple of separators between these two. With the XM5s, you get that LDAC on the Android platform, which is high quality, high resolution, wireless audio. Now with the AirPods Pro 2, you do get these touch controls allowing you to swipe up and down on the stems to raise and lower volume. And also with the case, there's a difference. These have a speaker on them, which allows for you to track, locate, and find your AirPods Pro 2 via sound and the Find My app in the Apple hemisphere or ecosystem or walled garden, whatever you want to call it. Those are some of the key features between the two. What matters most is how they sound against one another. So let's get into the sound comparison. I'm gonna put both into active noise cancellation. I'm gonna play the song and I'm gonna describe the soundstage and everything from the bass to the mids to the highs and how we interpret those in comparison to one another. And if one is actually a better sounding one than the other. So right now, I can tell I'm in transparency. As soon as I throw them in, I tap right here. Okay, now we in the big boy mode. Active noise cancellation, hit play.
Bad guy, no more time for the bad guy. Woo. Never going back to the bad side. Need the holy water, get baptized. Yeah, yeah, I'm that guy.
That guy.
No more time for the bad guy.
Bad guy.
Never going back to the bad side. Need the holy water, get baptized. I'm that guy. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. It's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job. Just as I should. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you.
A great sounding set of buds. And with the seal, having a better seal, now that sub bass is more apparent and I can feel it. Be careful with that though. Value your hearing. I'm telling you guys, it's one thing you can't get back. All right, let's hit play, pick up where we are on this one. Chose your path.
No choosing sides.
Nope.
I'll take what comes. Hit for the ride. I'm that guy. No more time for the bad guy. Never going back to the bad side. Need the holy water,
turn up
get
a little
baptized.
bit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a plus on this
I'm
side.
that guy. No more time for the bad guy. Never going back to the bad side. Need the holy water, get baptized. I'm that guy. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes.
It's understood.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you, and now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job just how I should. It was always me versus me.
I can really give it to you. Okay, here it is. These all around crisp, sound great, clean bass. There is clean bass. I just want a little more sub bass because there's two areas of the bass. There's that sub line and then there's that bass line. And again, it's very clean bass. You hear it. I just feel like I just want to feel it a little bit more. Again, I told you could turn it up to 10 and you feel it. But when I compare them to the AirPods Pro 2, we talk about bass right now, there's so much more sub presence and there's so much more bass. Even like the mids, it's kind of like more of a darker sound on the AirPods Pro 2, and these have like more of a brighter, lighter sound. The sub is there and you got your bass line and it can hit, and you got to turn it up though. Even when I was watching Floss' video, I saw him go crazy on the EQ. And he even said the same thing, more bass. So like that's my biggest critique and something that Sony can work on, whether they have to do it on their future one or if it could be software update, that'd be super fire. But just turn up the bass a notch, especially in the sub tones. The sub to that lower bass, just like bring those up and you know, make them a little bit more apparent and let them carry over into the mids as well. Now, with that being said, when it comes to bass, if you're looking for the more bass, the more sub apparent earbuds in between the two, that's gonna go with the AirPods Pro 2. They also have a larger driver. I don't know if that's playing a part, but I'm telling you, the bass presence, the lows, the mids, and on these, I don't do EQ shifts and changes. I don't have to. On these, I do. Now, when we get into the highs, I'm not gonna lie. The highs and the vocal clarity and everything, the XM5s have an extremely good representation and interpretation of highs, the upper mids, and the vocal clarity. That's one thing I give these. Super bright, super clear, super crisp. But there are different genres of music, and these are gonna cater more than these will because these have like that, you know, a little bit more darker, smooth. It's like a blended sound, and it's a little bit more weighted on the AirPods Pro 2. I'm just trying to give words that can translate to adjectives of sound that you can understand as far as the all-around interpretation of the soundstage and how it's just glued and weighted together. I just like the way it's melted together. That does not discredit the XM5, which I just almost dropped. These are fire. These are great. They're in my rotation as of right now. But if we're gonna take the collective of these, honestly, I wholeheartedly feel like it's personal preference. It's where you want to lean in your sound signature. It's where you want to lean as far as all of the features that are offered. It's where you want to lean in your ecosystem. It's where you want to lean just overall in your preference, price point, budget, all of those things. You factor all of those in. You look at all of the sections and categories that I discuss or will discuss and how they weight against each other. And then you make the most sound decision for yourself. What I say is my opinion and what I think, but what you say is your opinion and what you think, and we both are right.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. It's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you, and now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job just how I should. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. That's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you, and now I'm